Okay, so picture this. You're a veteran, maybe still serving right here in North Carolina, and you've got this, like a vision in your head, right, of the perfect home, built just the way you want it, exactly where you want it.
Then now imagine that vision becoming reality without needing a huge down payment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to really dig into today on the deep dive, zero down VA construction loans here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I was looking at the stuff you sent over, and it's pretty amazing for eligible veterans, active duty folks right here in the Tar Heel State.
It really is.
So let's break this down. What are we even talking about here when we say zero down VA construction loans?
Yeah.
How is this different than the usual way people go about building a house?
Well, at the core, these are special home loans, right? They're backed by the Department of Veterans Affairs, a benefit you've earned through your service.
Right.
And what's really interesting here is how they compare to conventional construction loans.
Okay.
With those, you're often looking at a hefty down payment, 20%, maybe even more. That's a significant upfront chunk of change.
Yeah, that could be a real roadblock for a lot of people, trying to build their dream home.
Absolutely. And that's where these VA construction loans come in. They leverage the VA home loan benefit that you already have.
Okay.
And this opens up the possibility of financing up to 100% of the costs to build a new home.
Wow, so no down payment.
Potentially none. So when we talk about zero down VA construction loans in North Carolina, we're talking about making that dream home a reality without that huge financial burden up front.
So it's not just a different loan. It's using your VA benefits specifically for new construction.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned something about a one-time close loan. I think that was in the material you sent over.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because that sounds like it could simplify things quite a bit.
It definitely can. So if you think about the normal way of building a home, you've got multiple steps, right? First, maybe you buy the land, then you get financing for the construction itself, and then finally you get a permanent mortgage once the house is actually built.
Right, separate loans.
Separate everything, applications, approvals, closings with fees, paperwork. It gets pretty complicated.
Oh, it sounds like a headache.
It can be, and that's where the VA one-time or OTC loan comes in. It basically combines all those steps into a single loan with just one closing.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're not juggling three different things at the same time.
Exactly. This one loan covers it all: the land purchase if you need it, the construction financing, and then it automatically converts to your permanent mortgage once the house is finished.
So instead of dealing with a bunch of different lenders, different closing costs, it's all just one streamlined process.
One and done.
So what are the actual benefits here for someone who's thinking about building?
Well, first off, the simplicity is huge.
Right. Less paperwork.
Way less stress, just a smoother experience overall.
Makes sense.
And then there's the potential for savings, because you're avoiding all those duplicate closing costs from having multiple loans.
Okay, so you're saving money, which you can then put back into the house.
Exactly. Every dollar counts. And then there's something called the rate conversion advantage, which is especially valuable in today's market.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one.
So with some construction loans, you have to lock in your permanent mortgage rate really early on, like months before the house is even finished.
Okay.
But what if rates go down during that time?
Oh, you're stuck with a higher rate.
Exactly. But with the VA one-time closed loan, you often have more flexibility. You can potentially take advantage of the market rates when construction is actually done and the loan converts to your permanent mortgage.
So you could end up with a lower monthly payment.
That's the idea. And then finally, there's just the overall convenience of it all.
Right. One loan.
One loan, one set of payments, all the coordination with the lender and the builder is under one roof.
Makes it much easier to keep track of everything.
Absolutely. It simplifies the whole journey from start to finish.
Okay, so the one-time close sounds like a great option for anyone considering building. But we're talking specifically about North Carolina here. Are there any specific advantages for veterans in this state?
You bet. There are several key advantages that make zero down VA construction loans particularly attractive for eligible veterans right here in North Carolina.
Okay, let's hear them.
Well, the biggest one, hands down, is the no down payment requirement.
Okay.
For those who qualify with full entitlement, which basically depends on your length and type of service,
Right.
you can get 100% financing.
So you could literally build a home without having to save up a ton of money for a down payment.
That's the potential, and that's a game changer for a lot of veterans who might have thought home ownership was out of reach.
Opens up a lot of doors.
It really does, and it's not just the house itself. You can also finance the cost of the land and the construction all in one package.
Okay, so if you haven't found that perfect lot yet, that's covered too.
Exactly, and here's another big one. VA loans don't require private mortgage insurance, or PMI.
PMI, that's the extra monthly payment you have with some conventional loans, right?
Exactly, and with a VA loan, you don't have to pay that at all, which means significant savings every month.
So no down payment and no PMI, that could make a huge difference in your monthly budget.
It absolutely can, and on top of that, VA-backed loans typically come with very competitive interest rates.
Okay.
Often lower than what you'd find elsewhere, and that can save you a lot of money over the life of the loan.
Right. The interest adds up over time.
It sure does, and finally, while your credit score is still important, the credit requirements for VA loans are generally more flexible than conventional loans.
So there are fewer hurdles to jump through.
That's the idea.
So for someone listening right now who's like, okay, this sounds amazing, what's the first step they should take?
The most important first step is to get pre-approved.
Okay.
This means taking a good look at your budget and confirming your eligibility for a VA loan.
Right. Got to make sure you qualify.
And part of that is getting your certificate of eligibility, your COE.
COE. Okay, got it. So once you're pre-approved, then what?
Okay. Then you need to find the perfect piece of land right here in North Carolina and find a qualified VA-approved builder.
Okay, so not just any builder will work.
Right. The VA has specific standards that builders need to meet to ensure a smooth construction process.
So it's about protecting the veteran.
Exactly. Once you've got your land and your builder, you'll finalize your house plans and then get a VA appraisal.
Yep.
Now, this appraisal is a bit different because it's based on the future value of your home once it's completed, not just the land and the plans as they are now.
So they're looking at the potential of the finished product.
Precisely. And once that appraisal is done, you'll move on to closing. And remember, with the one-time close loan, this is your only closing.
Nice and easy.
Exactly.
But what happens after closing?
Well, then the construction begins and the funds are dispersed to the builder in stages as they hit certain milestones.
So they don't get all the money up front.
No, it's a controlled process to make sure everything stays on track.
And then finally, you get to move into your brand new home.
That's the best part.
So I know there's a construction loans FAQ page for more detailed questions, but for someone who's thinking this might be the right path for them, what's the best way to get more information like right now?
The best thing to do is reach out directly. You can call them at 888-578-0441.
888-578-041.
Their team is ready to answer any questions you have right away and help you figure out if you're eligible.
So if you're a veteran or active duty here in North Carolina, and the idea of building your dream home with potentially no money down sounds good to you, give them a call.
Absolutely. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity.
All right, so to wrap this all up, zero down. VA construction loans in North Carolina are a fantastic option for eligible veterans to build their dream home without a huge upfront cost.
Exactly. The one-time close loan simplifies everything, and the fact that there's no PMI plus those competitive interest rates on VA loans really make homeownership much more attainable.
So just think about it. A home designed just for you in the perfect spot in North Carolina, and you might not even need a down payment. What aspects of a custom-built home would really make your life better? That's a great place to start when you reach out to them.
It all starts with taking that vision you have and making it a reality.
So explore your options.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. This could be the beginning of something amazing.
Your dream home awaits.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.